Hi everyone, hope you're doing well today. I have an exciting video. If you're new here, I'm Tina Williams from Rehatch Designs. I do thrift flips, DIYs, upcycles in all different styles, and I have 4 booths that I stock as well. Anyway, today's video is going to be 5 different thrift flips, all with kind of a French country flair to them. And I hope you enjoy this. I want to tell you to stay tuned toward the end of the video because I'm going to have an announcement with some giveaways, and hopefully you will be interested in that. Also, I want to say I cannot thank you all enough. The people that have purchased from my website, supported me. I greatly appreciate it. I can't even tell you, it's been overwhelming. I have reordered 3 different times, and I want to tell you that I've gotten all my shipments in and everything is loaded on my website that I have. IOD has sold out of several items, so after this, what's on there now, I'm not going to be able to purchase many more items. I don't think that y'all are going to want. So anyway, there's not a lot I can do about that. Eventually they'll restock everything, but that sometimes takes 3 to 6 months. So if you want them, get them. I have a very limited supply, so get what you need now. Anyway, I also want to say, please do not feel obligated in any way that you have to purchase things on my website in order to help support me and this channel. I realize that not everyone is in a position to do that, and I don't expect it. I don't want you to do that if you're not comfortable doing it. You can support me just by watching my videos, by sharing my videos, by giving me a thumbs up, giving me a comment, subscribing. That is greatly appreciated, guys. I can't even tell you how much that means to me, and I love the community and I love all of your support in any way that you can show it. So anyway, thank you. So stay tuned toward the end of the video, and I have an announcement that is a thank you. Anyway, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.
Okay, project number 1. This is a sign that I bought from Hobby Lobby on clearance. So if you're needing wood pieces or signage or whatever, check their clearance. I'm going to be painting over this with 2 coats of Champness by Fusion. It's an all-in-one paint, so it covers extremely well. And I love using the Fusion paint, the all-in-one paint, when I'm doing transfers because they just glide on. And I've got out my letterpress stamp, and I am going to go ahead and be mounting the words Rehatch Designs on this thin mount. A thin mount is something that you use to put your stamps on, especially when you're doing letters, which I don't use it to its advantage later on. You'll see why. I'll tell you what I did wrong. But in the meantime, I'm lining them all up on there. It helps me get it nice and straight. I can't fit the D on there, but that's okay. This is going to give me a pretty good idea of where my letters are going to go. And I go ahead and put the D for the designs, figure out how to center it in those letters. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do to kind of get an idea of where I'm going to put my letters on this. After I do that, I'm going to take out my biggest pieces from this beautiful transfer set, the Menagerie. This is absolutely gorgeous. When I first saw it, to be honest, I was skeptical. I thought, how's that going to work? Oh my gosh, guys, I had more fun with this set because it's basically a build your own scene is what it is. So you get to just cut out different pieces and add, subtract, layer if you like doing that kind of thing or you want to try doing that kind of thing. This is your transfer set. Absolutely amazing. If you like birds, this is your transfer set. Anyway, it has a lot of branches and different birds. It's got several bird cages. So I pull out the bigger pieces first. I'm going to go ahead and put those on so I can figure out where I want my lettering, and I'm going to layer basically on top of those pieces, and I'm going to layer on top of my letters. So I start with the big ones, and then I decide what other little pieces I want in there as well. So I'm trying to figure out where I want what, and honestly, if you get this transfer set, you will have so much fun piecing it together. I decide I want this bird inside the bird cage, so I've got to lay it down first and figure out where the bird cage is going to go. So I put that on, and then I'm going to layer the bird cage on top. And honestly, it looks, I think I would have liked it better if the bird was on the outside, because the way the bird cage is set up, you can see through it, but there's like a double line of the bird cage, so it doesn't really make sense afterwards. But, you know, it doesn't look bad. You'll see what I'm talking about. You see that little circle around the middle? If the bird was really in the bird cage, it wouldn't have that. I was actually thinking, you know, I wonder if you could cut a slit in the bird cage, right? On the transfer, and then, I don't know. Y'all tell me how you think you would deal with that. I don't know. So anyway, I did get the bird in the bird cage, and I wanted the bird cage to look like it was hanging from this branch, and I wanted you to be able to see the flowers on the, you know, through the bird cage, which you can. So, yeah, you know, I don't know. You tell me what you think. Anyway, these transfers do go on extremely easy when you use that fusion paint. I just love it. So anyway, I just keep building on this whole process. I go ahead and keep putting my letters down so I can kind of get an idea of where I want to put my pieces. And this is a grouping of birds that I'm sure is probably a lot of people's favorite. And I'm going to put that as my other big piece on the other end. And then I'm just going to keep adding to that. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the letters on. And you'll notice that I am actually stamping over part of the transfer, and it works just fine. I did kind of move my stamps a little bit so there's a little bit of blurring, but that is easily fixed. I'm going to go in with that same Champness paint, and I will go ahead and touch up where I need to touch up, and that is no issue whatsoever. You know, so there's always a way to fix things. But anyway, I did want to show you that I stamped right over the transfers. I use the IOD black ink for this. And the way these stamps are in the IOD packs is they are meant to look a little distressed, so they don't go on perfectly. And here's where I mess up. I did not use my grid perfectly because I did not, I lined up the letters right on the designs on the grid, but I didn't, if you look at between the D and the other letters, there's too much of a gap there. Not huge, but it could have been better. And now I go ahead and I put the D on the end, and see how I just went right over that bird cage, and you can see it just fine. So now I'm going to add a lot of other pieces on. Just keep layering. I'm going to layer over some of the letters. I just kind of want this to look like the uh, the words are just part of the whole thing, and that it's just kind of set inside. So this is, I don't know, I could have done this all day because I had the best time layering things and adding things, and I probably did way too much, but I couldn't stop myself. I just couldn't. It was just so much fun, and I have so much left of this transfer pack. I'm going to have to keep a couple of these for me because I can think of some amazing projects that you could do with these. An old window, or you could do a wall, or you could do, I have some glass doors, like the old antique doors at one of my locations. I'm thinking about doing, it's like a whole wall, 3 of them. I'm thinking about just doing a scene on that. Wouldn't that be pretty? Anyway, I just add more and more and layer more. I put this branch over the top. I think it looks so cool hanging over the letters. Oh my gosh, guys. This is just so much fun. You just cut apart little pieces. You add little pieces here and there. This is a blast doing this. So, honestly, at first, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I thought, well, gosh, what are you going to do with all those little pieces? Yeah, it's meant to layer. It's meant to add. It's meant to build your own scene. Anyway, I had a blast. And then when I got done, I went over this with a Fusion's Tough Coat Matte. Just one coat. You need to seal in your transfers. And then when I got done, I thought, oh, I'm going to add another flower. It's really addictive. Trust me, it's hard to stop. And after I added a couple extra flowers. I think I added one by the birdcage. I went ahead and sealed it in again, just those little pieces. And I had to stop myself. I really did, because I could have just, I think I add one at the bottom. Anyway, I love it. It's not perfect. I could have lined up my letters better, but I love it, and I absolutely love this transfer set. Get your hands on it. You may even want to buy a few. All right. Anyway, I hope you like it. Let me know. All right, project number 2. We are going to be making over some frames because I have a few of them. And I am going over these frames with Fusion's Tough Coat Matte. I'm going to go over it just one time. And the reason I'm doing that is whenever you're working on these old frames, they have tannins and oils. And you want to probably cover those and seal them in. And I'm now mixing some milk paint, and this is Cheshire. It's one of the Jamie Ray Vintage collaboration Sweet Pickins milk paint. If you've never used milk paint, it's equal parts powder and water, and I put a little less water in this because I want it to be pretty thick. I wanted to go do a one coat. And here is that gorgeous, gorgeous color. And you can see I'm putting it on pretty thick. Now, if I had not put the sealer on my piece first, because of all the oils, most of this paint would chip off. So I went ahead, unless I put extra bond in it. And I didn't want to do that because I want chippiness and I want cracking and glazing and all that kind of stuff. So, but I don't want it to all chip off. So if I put extra bond in, it won't chip. If I seal the piece first, then I will get the chipping, but it won't all chip off. So what you learn about milk paint is your substrate that you're using has a lot to do with how it's going to react. And through trial and error, you'll figure that out. So I am going to make sure that I use my heat gun on this because I want the cracking and I want a little chipping. I don't want a lot of chipping. And if your piece chips off a bunch, then that means whatever you're painting it on is either too slick, it needs to be sealed, and also you can use the extra bond. The problem with the extra bond is that a lot of times what that'll do is you won't get any cracking or chipping at all. So, part of the reason you use the milk paint is to get that. And you will notice that I use the heck out of my heat gun so I can get some chipping in there. And I will do this on both of them and completely go over it probably 2 or 3 times with my heat gun, and that makes all the difference in the world. I have found with the extra bond, even the heat gun doesn't necessarily make it chip. So if you want that milk paint look and you don't want any chipping, purchase some extra bond. I think you should get it anyway if you're going to try out milk paint for the first time, just so that you can play around with it and use it. If I put multiple coats on, then I will usually use my heat gun in between coats. On this, I'm technically only doing 1 coat and a little bit of touch up here and there. And then I'm going over it with my heat gun. There's a few spots that I had to go back over that had a little bit too much chippiness, and probably because I did not get my top coat or my tough coat on there first. So just, like I said, your substrate has a lot to do with how your milk paint's going to react. And if you want an old world kind of look, I don't think there's anything out there that beats milk paint. It'll give you that look every time. And you will learn in using it how it works, and how it will react to different substrates, whether you need the extra bond or not, how much heat to apply. Sometimes you don't want to apply too much because everything will chip off. Anyway, that's what I do, and I just make sure it's all completely dry before I move on to the next thing. So now I'm taking my finger sander and I am sanding off any of the loose chippy pieces. And they'll be sometimes there's little clumps of paint when you use milk paint. Even if you mix it really well, there's usually some. And I'm just going to go ahead and sand off any of those on the edges and on the inside. And I'm also going to distress with my sander a little bit here and there. Just to add a little extra distressing where there might be some, and make sure I get off any of those little clumps. I'm also going to wet distress this. It's very easy to do that. I'm just taking a wet baby wipe and I'm going to go over some sections with that. now I'm going to get out my Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. In my opinion, there is nothing better to use with milk paint if you want that truly antique, beautiful look. If you do not want your piece to be that dark, you can go over it with the clear wax first. They have a oil wax that's a clear wax. You can actually use any clear wax, but they do have one that you can use. But I am going to go over this with the oil wax. Always make sure you shake up your oil wax before you use it because the pigment will settle at the bottom. So I'm going to go over the whole thing. I'm just going over it with a paintbrush, and I'm going to let it set on the piece for about 10 minutes so it can soak into the piece. And you can use just a regular dark wax on this, but the oil wax to me really gets into all those tiny little cracks and crevices better than anything else. And the way that it patinas the paint is just amazing. So anyway, I go over all of it and I will let it set on both pieces for about 10 minutes. So after it's set for about 10 minutes, I am taking just a shop towel, a dry shop towel. You don't want to use a wet wipe because you'll basically wipe off all of the oil wax. And you're going to go ahead and wipe off as much of the loose oil wax. I do try and leave more of it in the little crevices and things. But I go over the whole thing with it. And it will have a little bit of a shiny finish when you're done. But when this dries completely, guys, it is a matte finish. And it is hard as a rock. It is a very, very good sealer for your paint. Whatever substrate you have, it is an excellent, excellent sealer. So after I do that, I let those set aside to dry a little more. What I have here is I have 2 handmade papers that I am going to use, and I am spraying them with a spray sealer. And the reason I'm doing that is I have used handmade papers before, and I'm going to be putting a transfer on them. Because they are so porous, they are extremely hard to transfer things onto with a transfer unless you seal them up. So now what I'm doing is I am using the new wall stamp, which has been greatly received, very popular. And I am going over the wall stamp with some IOD ink, and this is the stone gray. I didn't want it too dark. And we're going to go ahead and go over this handmade paper. I just bought this on Amazon. Now I've had this for quite a long time. I couldn't find the same supplier, but just look up handmade papers and you'll be able to find them. Of course, it comes in an off-white color. This is a little bit darker. This is their antique one, and it tears beautifully. It's a great paper to have. Anyway, I'm going to do 2 of these with this stamp, and this stamp is wonderful. All of those little music note lines, all of those pieces come apart, so you can take them apart. You don't have to use them all together in a sheet also, so that makes it very versatile. So you just press it on there and go over it with your hand. I want this to just be a background, so I don't want it too dark, but this is going to be a great stamp. And I did sand my stamp the first time I used it. You want to do that lightly so it grabs onto the ink better. And when you're done using it, always wipe it off with a wipe. So now I'm seeing how much of this Saint Germain transfer will fit in that frame. And I'm going ahead and putting some decoupage gel on my backboard. This is simply a canvas board that I bought in bulk. You can buy these anywhere. And I'm going to go ahead and put my music note paper on there. I'm going to go ahead and decoupage those on. Now I'm just going to cut around them. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to fit inside the frame. So I buy these little canvas boards to use all the time in those frames because I love them. If you're using decoupage paper, it goes on easy. They fit in there perfectly. So now I'm taking this beautiful transfer. 100% of it isn't going to fit in there, but I've kind of decided what pieces I can live without. And I'm just going to put it on there. And I will tell you, if you do not seal your paper, it is really, really hard to get it off otherwise. And in fact, I probably should have put a second coat on this. It would have been easier. But if you don't put any on a porous paper, it is very, very hard to get your transfer to go off. Basically, transfers transfer well on slick surfaces. So the more porous it is, the harder it's going to be for you to transfer. So I'm going to do it on both pieces. And I think the backdrop of that music notes on that handmade paper is absolutely beautiful. The combination of two and the color of that frame goes beautiful with this. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. So after you get them on, you want to burnish them, which is basically go over them either with your hand or the transfer sheet on the shiny side. And now I'm just taking some of my decoupage gel. I love the Fusion decoupage gel simply because it is so matte. It doesn't have any shine to it. And I'm wanting this to kind of look like a painting or something. And I'm going to go ahead and use my handy dandy tool. Gosh, guys, this is a poinsettia, and there's all different brands. Just look on Amazon, and if you do frames at all, this is a lifesaver. It's not that expensive, and it works amazing. So then I'm going to take some heavy paper to put on the back. This is kind of a pinkish color, but you get this in the paint section, like of Home Depot or Lowe's or any of those kind of stores. And it is basically to put on floors for painters. They usually put that down and tape it down. And it's very inexpensive for a really big roll. So anyway, I go ahead and I put hot glue around the edges. You could also use double-sided tape. I'm just doing it because I have my hot glue gun out and it's cheap to do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the back of this, and I just cover the whole thing. Just make sure I get all of the back covered and get it on there good. And all I'm going to do after that is I'm going to just take my sander and go over the edges. Actually, I switched to my finger sander because it works better. I don't know. It does. I love this thing. If you don't have one, you get one. I have like 3 because I lose them all the time. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this little mounting bracket in, and I am done. I love these. These are probably my favorite other than my sign, which I'm probably a little partial to. Anyway, you just can't go wrong with that milk paint look. And I think the combination of everything works really well. Let me know what you think about it. All right, project number 3. I almost wasn't going to do this because these transfers sold out the first day at IOD. I sold out the first day and I could not reorder them, so I have none. I have everything else in stock as of this video. Probably not through the weekend, but this one I sold out the first day. And this is Sarah Featon's Botanicals. And I love this because it is so different. Anyway, I kind of thought this had such a natural look to them that I was going to put them on something that just had the wood on it because I thought they go so beautifully together. And I'm just cutting out pieces to fit on these little breadboards. And I purchased these about a year ago on Amazon. And I think this is acacia wood, so it has a beautiful look to it. I am going over these with my decoupage gel just because I will tell you that if you do not seal wood, just about any wood, it has a tendency to have oils in it and tannins, and makes it very, very hard for the transfers to stick. And then I decide I'm going to go ahead and go over this with some of my Tough Coat matte, just to make sure that it is completely sealed. Because I will tell you, I have tried to transfer on things and without a really good sealant on there, it will not transfer. So I have these 2 pieces that I'm going to put on there, and of course they transfer very easily after you put some sort of top coat on there. You can use shellac, you can use whatever it is that you want to use. You're going to have to seal the transfer later, but if you don't seal that wood, it's really hard sometimes to transfer. So I am going to just go ahead and put that on there, and because I put that top coat on, it should transfer fairly easily, and it does. And I love the way these look with the natural wood. To me, they just go together. Anyway, like I said, I wasn't going to do this because I felt bad because a lot of people can't get this, but there may be other stockists out there, which I'm sure there are, that have a few. Or maybe you were lucky enough, because I bought a lot and people purchased them from me, so there are people out there that have them. So anyway, I thought I definitely wanted to show you all something you could do with them if you purchase them from me, or you can get your hands on them. So they will restock all of the transfers eventually, but it does take them like 3 to 6 months. Anyway, now what I'm doing after I got the transfers on, I am going to be sealing these with some hemp foil. And this is from Fusion. I also have some available from Sweet Pickens. It is completely food safe. You can go ahead and put this on. And I'm not saying you should eat off of them, but it is food safe. And this stuff dries rock hard. It is an excellent, excellent sealant. And if you just want to use it for your wood pieces alone, these are amazing. So I'm actually going to go over the front and the back. And of course it looks shiny now, and it does take like a week to cure, and it will not cure shiny. It just like the oil wax, it will be completely matte. Now all I'm going to do is I have just some rope that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make a little tie thing on top and kind of knot it and cut it, and I'm going to fray the ends, and I'm going to put a little of that hemp foil on there because it will dry rock hard and seal it. I'm just dipping it in a little extra stuff there, and I'm going to fray that. And here they are, and gosh guys, I love the simplicity of it, and I think that's why these transfers sold so quickly, because they're simple, but I think the combination of both work really well. Okay, so project number 4. This kind of goes along with our breadboards. I have these coasters. I bought a set of these off of Amazon. You can buy them, but they're not made of acacia wood. They are just a very plain wood. And I want to darken them up a little. And I am going to caution you, if you're going to use transfers, do not use wax to tint your wood, because it's really hard to transfer on wax, if not impossible. So what I am using is a glaze, and this is from Paint Couture. This Amber Honey Glaze. This is a great mid-tone glaze if you want to purchase a glaze and you haven't ever before. It's not too light, it's not too dark, it's the Goldilocks of glaze, because you can make it darker by putting on multiple coats. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on one coat, and then I'm going to add another coat because I want a little bit darker. I'm going with the grain of the wood. I'm going to do both the front and the back. And a glaze is different than a wax because it is a water-based product. It doesn't have any oils in it that will keep your transfer from sticking. In fact, it will seal the piece, although I do seal it again. Just because I know wood's finicky and I like to have it sealed really well. Of course, you could use a spray sealer or a shellac or something like that. So I put it on there, I let it set. I just take my wipe and I'll go ahead and wipe off the bulk amount of it and go with the wood grain, and it just gives it a beautiful finish. This works really, really well for if you're trying to finish wood. And especially if you know you're going to be using a transfer, because like I said, wax and transfers, oil and transfers, they don't mix well. They don't transfer well. So I'm going to do both sides of these, and then we're going to put a top coat on it. So now I have this little wooden tag that I'm just taking the leftover glaze that's on my wet wipe, and I'm just going to kind of color it. It's just a little wooden tag that I bought a bunch of them in bulk off of Amazon. And now after that glaze is dry, I am just going to take Fusion's Tough Coat Matte. This is a very, very good finish if y'all want something that's very durable. Now I will say, to me it dries more like a satin than a matte finish. So beware of that. But most of the time I want a satin anyway, so it works out. And it's very durable. So I'm going to put that on there and let it dry. And I'm going to take out some more of Sarah Featon's Botanicals. And I'm going to try and pick out some that will fit on these coasters. I think it would be a wonderful gift to give somebody, you know, the breadboard or breadboards and these little coasters. Be a great little gift because they go together and it's just a good look. So I'm just going to take these off. I'm not going to bore you with putting all these transfers on again. We've done a lot of transfers. I promise the last thing we do is not a transfer. And we go over all of these, and I don't know. I think these on wood just really go well. That's all I have to say about it. I just think they do. To me, in my brain, they do because of the simplicity of them. So we're going to go over all of it and just make sure our transfers come off, and they will. But like I said, don't put oil down. You'll be very, very disappointed, and ask me how I know because I've done it. So there you go. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to burnish these just like we did, and I'm going to go over this. I'm actually going to go 2 coats of that Tough Coat matte. This is basically a polyacrylic. You could, if you wanted to, go over these with resin. If you have a clear resin, you could actually just paint that resin on and, you know, let it cure. Or if you have a UV light, you could put it in that. I do that a lot of times, but I'm not going to do it here because not everybody has that. But you could definitely do that. And now I'm taking the little, I don't know, the sticky pads that go on the back. They came with with these coasters. I like using that better than the cork simply because I don't have to line it up perfectly and cut it perfectly or whatever. So I'm going to put 4 of these on each one, and they stick really well. So I'm going to, and I have sealed the back also, by the way. And now I'm just going to take my little tag. I stamped the number 4 on there. I'm not really sure why, just because there's 4 coasters. And I'm going to go ahead and take some twine, and I'm going to go ahead and tie all of these coasters and put my little tag on that. If I sold these, I would probably sell them for about $14, $15. The breadboard maybe for $8 or $9. But anyway, I loved how these turned out, and I think they go really well with the breadboard. Let me know what you think.
Hi everybody, hope you're enjoying the video. I just thought I'd pop in really quick and tell you about the giveaway that I am going to be doing in appreciation for all of you. I originally was going to fill up this little suitcase that I made on my channel, and we had talked about that, but it's not big enough to hold some of the stuff that I put in there. So I am actually going to be doing another suitcase that will fit all of those things. One thing I'm not going to do though, that I originally was going to do, is I was going to fill up the suitcase and give all of that to one person. I'm not going to do that now, because what I think I'm going to do is I am going to just divide it all up and give it to different people. Okay. So for every item I put in there, I could be mailing it out to one other different, so I could have 20 items in there, I could 5 items, I could have 30 items. You know, there could be 30 winners, 5 winners, 10 winners. The way this is going to work is I'm going to add one thing each time I do a video until I hit 10,000. I'm 1,000 subscribers away, and that could be quite a few videos. It could be, you know, 30 videos from now. It could be 5 videos. It could be, you know, 100 videos. I don't know. So all you have to do to enter in is you have to be a subscriber to my channel, and you have to comment on a video. Now, the way it's going to work is each comment will enter you in to the giveaway. So if it takes me 10 videos to hit 10,000 and you comment on each one, then you will be entered 10 times. I will only enter you one time, okay, per video. So you can make 10 comments, but you only be entered one time per video. So if I have, 8 videos out there before I hit 10,000 and you comment on each one, you'll be entered in 8 times. So obviously the more times you comment and watch my videos, then, obviously that you will be entered more times. Okay, so I hope that explains it. I know it sounds kind of convoluted, but anyway, I hope you enjoy this little giveaway and have a good time with it, and I appreciate it. I really, really, really want to show my love and appreciation for all of you that just watch. I don't want you to feel obligated that you have to purchase anything through me for me to appreciate you. So anyway, this is my way of saying thank you, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the video.
All right, this is our last project. And this one, I am going to be doing an inlay. Hey, no transfers. Okay, I love this inlay set, guys. Oh, man, do I love it. Anyway, I cut out a piece of it. And this is the florography. It has so many pieces in it that are absolutely gorgeous. A lot of different type of French labels. And I'm cutting out this little label here. And also, I'm going to be using this piece of burlap. I've just cut out a piece of burlap. And we're actually going to be using this inlay on burlap. I wanted to do something different. So I've got this basket and it has like a little hanger thing on it. It's kind of meant to like hang up on your door or something. And I have noticed whenever I put any kind of French label on a basket, it sells immediately. It's weird. But anyway, usually I use just some drop cloth, but I wanted to show you guys how to use an inlay on burlap because it gives a very rustic, different kind of look. So what I'm doing here is I am using Paint Couture Cozy Beige. It is just a plain chalk paint. It does not have a top coat in it. I am anti-top coat paint for inlays. I think they work way better without a top coat. They can definitely work with one, but I think if you're new to this or you're finicky about inlays, just do yourself a favor and do it with just a plain chalk paint type paint without a top coat built in, and also probably without a clear coat. A clear coat is basically the same thing. So I'm going to go over this whole thing, and I'm going to really saturate that burlap, that's what you call it. And I'm going to let it dry completely. You need a good base for this to go on, and I'm just kind of keep measuring. I just want the burlap to kind of be framing it a little bit. I could have measured better and I could have made it perfect, but my goal was to make it not perfect. So I think I achieved that. And then I'm going to have, after the first coat dries, I put a wet coat on that you just saw me do. And then I am going to go ahead and mist the inlay on the front, and I'm going to lay it down into the wet paint. And y'all watch me pick this up and move it around and get it the way I want it. And it doesn't smear. It's not that hard to do. As long as you haven't pressed it into the paint already, you can move it. You don't want to do it, after it's been sitting there for 5 minutes, but you definitely can do that. And the important thing is to make sure that your inlay makes good contact with that paint. Make sure you have enough paint. I'm adding paint to the bottom because this went down a little bit further than I added paint to. And now I'm just taking my wet wipe and I'm going and I'm pressing that inlay into the the paint because you want to make sure that your inlay is making very good contact. And I even actually went over this with a brayer, and I normally don't do that. When it's completely dry, and I dried it with my heat gun, I spray some water on it. I use a mister, don't use a sprayer because a sprayer will add too much water. And you wait about 30 seconds to a minute. I'm adding a little extra water just because I can tell the middle didn't get enough water. And I'm going to go ahead and start to pull it up. If I feel any resistance, I'll put more water on it. And this is not going to turn out perfect because you have a very porous, rough surface, and that's what we want. We don't want perfection, but it turns out pretty darn good, guys. And I'm pulling off all the little extra strings. Now, those strings will not go anymore because that paint will stop it. And I'm going to go ahead and completely dry this. And then I'm going to go over it with a spray sealer. I am not good about putting a clear sealer with a brush. So I spray seal it just one time. And I'm just going to go ahead and let that dry. And now I'm going to go over this with Paint Couture's Dead Flat. I love this stuff, guys. I wanted to have a flat finish, no shine. And I think it turned out absolutely wonderful. I love how it looks on this basket. Alright, that's it, guys. Those are my 5 flips, and another video is coming in a couple days with 5 more. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are in need of any of the IOD items, Paint Couture, Fusion Paint, Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, Pent Art, or decoupage paper, you can purchase that on rehatchdesigns.com. A free shipping over $50, flat rate shipping of $8, under $50. And I will see you guys in a few days with 5 more. Be looking for that. And don't forget to enter into the giveaway. Be a subscriber and comment on my videos. And I'm going to already put something in for today's video. So anyway, we will see you again next time. You guys take care. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.